Good morning.
Good morning, morning.
भुमरे सर नमस्कार.
नमस्कार.
गादेकर सर बोलतो अंबाजोगाव.
Kumar sir, good morning. Kumar sir, good morning.
Good morning, sir. Good morning. How are you?
Fine, sir.
Great.
What about you, sir?
Great.
Fine. After a long time, we are
Long time, though virtual, though actually it's a great opportunity these people are making.
during your kind visit to Tripura University, we have met.
Yeah, I remember it.
And Gumri sir also once visited our institution. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Here our weather is very cloudy and rainy. Okay. And last three days it was very rainy. With lightning and thunderstorm.
But still you are lucky
Today is light better.
but you are still lucky because we don't have any drop actually.
Okay.
No rain at all.
Now monsoon has already appeared in Maharashtra, no?
No, it has appeared, but this part actually it is in the hot spots. Somewhere it is raining, somewhere it's not raining. In your part, of course, we are reading in the newspaper. It's been very heavily raining.
So you may be knowing that we are cut off from the mainland, from road and as well as rail.
Yeah, I read it in the morning.
All the northeast region.
Very true. But here in Maharashtra, actually, the whole of Maharashtra is eagerly waiting, except some part it has rained in the last 3-4 days.
घुमरे सर आपले प्राचार्य जॉईन झाले का सर?
एक मिनिट होल्ड करा, मी विचारतो. झालेले आहेत सर.
डॉक्टर भारती सर. भारती सर.
सगर सर.
हॅलो.
सगर सर.
ओके सर.
हा झालेत प्राचार्य जॉईन आमचे.
ओके सर. डॉक्टर भारती सर. भारती सर. भारती सर, can we start?
Please sir, please.
Okay. Dr. Ganjewar sir.
Yes sir.
Okay. We will start.
Thank you. With the blessings and permissions of the managements of both the colleges, Marathwada Shikshan Prasarak Mandals, Arts, Commerce and Science College, Kille Dharur, and Matsyodari Shikshan Sansthas, Arts, Science and Commerce College, Ambad, on the occasion of National Reading Day, today it's a great pleasure for us that we are going to organize under the linkage of Library and Information Center of both the colleges, a one-day national webinar on changing scenario of reading culture in digital environment. Friends, it is an auspicious occasion for us that the great personalities of India in digital environment have joined today as the resource persons of this Library and Information Center National Conference, National Webinar. So it's my great pleasure, and with the kind permission of both the principals, Professor Dr. S.V. Gaikwad sir and Professor Dr. D.M. Bharti sir, I welcome you all. Friends, it is an hour that today we live in the digital environment. However, while living in the digital environment, it is also a criticism which says that there is a changing scenario of reading culture, because reading is possible only when we are in the offline mode. But many critics also have rubbed out this statement that today is the age of digitalization. In this digital environment, there is, of course, a radical change in the reading culture. That is why the librarian of both the colleges have chosen this particular subject for mentioning the changing scenario of reading culture in digital environment. I congratulate both the principals and the conveners of this webinar for choosing such a radical topic. Without making any more delay in the program schedule of the national webinar, may I request, first of all, the convener of this national webinar, Professor Dr. Shivkumar Ghumre sir, to give the convener's address. Professor Dr. Shivkumar Ghumre sir.
Good morning, everybody. Hello, may I audible?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir, yes.
Please continue, sir.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, sir.
On the occasion of National Reading Day, first of all, I am paying homage to Bharat Ratna Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Sahib. This is first occasion that we are organizing jointly a webinar under the linkage of Knowledge Resource Center, Matsuyodari Shikshan Sanstha, Arts, Science and Commerce College, Ambad, District Jalna, and Knowledge Resource Center, MSP Mandals, Arts, Science and Commerce College, Kille Dharu, District Bid. For this webinar, we have very great personalities as a resource person. My colleague, senior colleague, my professor, my guide, my mentor, Professor Dr. Rajendra Kumar, Pune University, Pune. Second resource person is Dr. Ravindra Kumar Mahapatra. He is also very renowned personality. He is working at Tripura National Central University, Tripura, Agratala. Principal of Arts, Science and Commerce College, Ambad, Honorable Principal Dr. S.V. Gaikwad sir. Second Principal of Arts, Science and Commerce College, Kille Dharur, Professor Bharti sir. Convener, joint convener of this program, Professor Gopal Sagar. Then Professor Ganjewar sir. All friends like Professor Jagdish Kulkarni, Professor Agav, and other number of friends are joined here, and all dignitaries who joined all over India. I already told that this webinar is under the linkage of KRC, Ambad and Kille Dharu. First of all, I am very much thankful to Honorable Principal of Ambad College and Honorable Principal of Dharur College to permit us to organize this webinar. First of all, 10 days before, Mr. Gopal Sagar suggested me for this webinar because he told me that coming on the 19th June, there is a National Reading Day, and he suggested me that we have to organize jointly this webinar, and I responded him quickly, and today this webinar is going to organize, or it is in running stage. This webinar is a output of Gopal Sagar's painful efforts. He prepared all literature, he prepared banner, he posted all things on his blog, and everything he did by proper manner. First, he suggested me that we had to need some renowned resource person, and I first request Professor Mahapatra and his greatness that he quickly responded me and accepted our invitation. Professor Kumbar is my colleague, mentor. He also very quickly accepted our invitation, and both are here today to give us a knowledgeable lecture. And it is a great fun or great what we say, joyful and happy moment that to listen Professor Kumbar on the reading, especially reading culture and reading habits. Professor Mahapatra also delivering very nicely on this theme. That's why we are very much fortunate that we have these two renowned, knowledgeable and noble personalities with us. Near about 300 participants were registered for this webinar, and at this moment more than 100 participants are joined to this webinar. I am very much thankful to authorities of Marathwada Shikshan Prasarak Mandal and Matshodari Shikshan Sanstha to permit us to organize this webinar. Doctor, I am concluding my words with the remark of Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam that learning gives us creativity. Creativity leads to thinking. Thinking provides knowledge, and knowledge makes you great. With these words, I conclude these words. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your excellent and enlightened convener speech. Friends, now really this is an hour where we can listen to both the principals of two colleges with their enlightened introduction. So first of all, may I welcome Professor Dr. Deepak M. Bharti sir, in-charge principal, Arts, Commerce and Science College, Kille Dharu, District B, to give welcome speech. Professor Dr. Deepak M. Bharti sir.
Thank you, sir. May I audible, sir?
Yes, sir. Please continue.
Very good morning one and all. First of all, I welcome honorable dignitaries, resource persons and delegates from across the country. In the beginning, I salute the scared memory of late Vinayakrao Patil, late Ramraoji Aurgaonkar, and late Sundarraoji Solonke Sahib, founders of Marathwada Shikshan Prasarak Mandal. Marathwada Shikshan Prasarak Mandal's Arts, Commerce and Science College, Kille Dharu, District B. I am grateful to Honorable MLA श्री प्रकाशदादा सोळंके, प्रेसिडेंट मराठवाडा शिक्षण प्रसारक मंडळ, ऑनरेबल MLC श्री सतीश भाऊ चव्हाण साहेब, जनरल सेक्रेटरी मराठवाडा शिक्षण प्रसारक मंडळ औरंगाबाद, ऑनरेबल मेंबर्स ऑफ एक्झिक्युटिव्ह काउन्सिल मराठवाडा शिक्षण प्रसारक मंडळ, ऑनरेबल जयसिंग भैया सोळंके साहेब, श्री लोभाजी चव्हाण साहेब, श्री अजय सिंह दिक्कत साहेब, डॉक्टर राम सिंगारे सर, श्री ईना जाधव सर, and the office bearer for inspiration and continuous support to organize national international event in this college. Library and Information Center, Marathwada Shikshan Prasarak Mandals, Arts, Commerce and Science College, Kille Dharu, and Library and Information Center has jointly organized one-day national webinar on changing scenario of reading culture in digital environment under the linkage program on the occasion of National Reading Day. I heartily welcome to today's resource person, Professor Dr. Rajendra Kumbhar sir, Professor and Head, Department of Library and Information Science, Savitribai Phule University, Pune, Maharashtra State, and Professor Dr. Rabindra Kumar Mahapatra, Professor and Head, Department of Library and Information Science, Tripura University, a central university, Agartala City, Tripura State. I thank and congratulate to conveners, Dr. Shivshankar Ghumre sir and Mr. Gopal Sagar sir, for organizing this and to give best wishes for it will be grand success. I have proud of our college because we are celebrating this 2021-22 year as a golden jubilee year. We are trying to provide new platform to the faculties and stakeholders in academic era. Library is ornament of the college and it is our prime duty to support, provide and share advanced technologies related with ICT based service for build up reading culture within the society. Library and Information Center plays a vital role to enhance reading culture in digital environment. Reading has a tremendous effect in fueling all aspects of our personality. Reading culture reduces stress, helps you in a research work, improves health, and develops your imagination and entertainment. Today's era is known as digital era. Therefore, e-resources is a powerful tool for digital literacy and build up reading culture. Our college library always tries to produce e-content through library blog, and we are happy to say that more than 26,500 users are visited to library blog. Faculties are uses e-content from YNList and other e-resources. As per present protocol, all the academic stakeholders trying their level best to produce and share e-content for enhancing reading culture to end users. I hope that there will be a fruitful discussion, sharing of knowledge about these aspects. Enjoy all lectures. Once again, welcome to one and all. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Professor Dr. D.M. Bharti, sir. Now, friends, it is the hour to listen to the renowned personality in English language and literature, who is no one but Honorable Principal Professor Dr. S.V. Gaikwad, sir. Professor Dr. S.V. Gaikwad, sir, is the giant personality in English language, literature, and criticism. Being the organizer of this national webinar, may I request you, sir, to give the introductory speech of this national webinar. Professor Dr. S.V. Gaikwad, sir, Principal, Arts, Science and Commerce College, Ambad, District, Jalna.
Thank you, Ganjewar, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Please, sir. Please continue.
Thank you very much. I welcome all the dignitaries, persons, Professor Rajendra Kumar, Professor Ravindra Kumar Mahapatra, Sagar sir, Ganjawar sir, Principal Deepak Bharti sir, and all the participants from this region or all over India or all of them. This particular webinar, on National Reading Day, it is very and very also important. So when we arrange such a type of programs, such type of events, then we are attracted to certain things like libraries, the persons who are working in libraries, or the people who are working in all over India in the libraries, because the responsibility of library in reading culture is very, very important one, because libraries are not the storehouse of books. They are, in a sense, they preserve knowledge. They are the storehouse of knowledge, because books are stored there. Otherwise, books are dead. Unless we read them, unless we read them, they are dead, and they are made alive only by reading. And it is the duty of all teachers and the librarians and the people who are working in the library to promote this type of culture. It is not only librarians' work. I mean, I will not suggest that this is only librarians' works. This is the work, this is the duty of all teachers who are devoting, who have been devoting their life to such kind of culture. So make the book alive. By reading that, we make the book alive. And books are the storehouse of knowledge. The knowledge is stored in the books, and the knowledge is hidden in the book. And so to make it open, so reading makes it open, and there are many benefits. There are many, you can see, say, there are many users that helps us. Reading helps us in many ways. So if I name some of them, then it would be very nice. So what if we read regularly? So it strengthens our brain. Our brains are strengthened when we read every day at least 2 pages, 3 pages. If you get more time, 5 pages, 10 pages, some people read 50 pages a day, 100 pages a day. So it strengthens our brain. Otherwise, brain may be dead. Brain may be, it will not work if we don't read. So what else the reading do us? What else the reading gives us? It increases our understanding of culture, people, and society. Because in the book, everything is written. Books are not merely words; they are knowledge. So they help us to understand other people, other society, other culture, other nations. And even they help us to understand the ability of other person or our friend for that matter. And since as the some of us told us that it is an era of communication. Okay, this is true. It is an era of communication, but there is less communication because there is no communication at all. People are engaged on mobile phones. Mobile phones are a means of communication. There is only one means of communication. Mobile phone is a means of communication. But since we are so much engaged in handling mobiles, so we don't communicate. We are unable to communicate with other people. So since we don't communicate, then what happens? We don't have that communication power. So reading gives us that communicative power. It builds our vocabulary. It builds, for example, Saint Tukaram, that is a renowned poet, Marathi poet. So if you read there his Gatha, so in his Gatha you can find that there are a lot of books. He is Shakespeare in Marathi language. So if you say that he is Shakespeare in Marathi language, that would be the correct understanding of Saint Tukaram. So what happens here that when we read, then what happens again? So it gives us understanding, as I just told you. It gives us understanding. It gives us, it makes us able to understand other people. And at the same time, again, this world is a world of stress. You know, in office, in library, in staff room, in your cabin. So there you get stress because of some reason. There are many reasons of why we are in stress. So since this is the world of stress, and in this world of stress, if we read, so we lighten the stress. It reduces stress. Reading reduces our stress. Stress of everybody. That is why you see that in rural areas in Maharashtra, you find that there are people, they have Haripat every day. So what is the purpose of that Haripat? Nowadays it is because there are the professions and the pilgrimage, they are going to Pandharpur. So this is a very usual thing nowadays on the road. People are walking on the road. So they see any part among us every day. So that purpose is to stress, to reduce stress. Reading helps us reduce stress. So that is why we have to read, and we have to go to the library and read them. What else it do? It reduces stress psychologically. It also helps us physically too. And what it is, how is it help? How does it help us? So it helps us to go sleep. You know, sleep is also a great problem. Many people they take medicine and the treatment because they don't go sleep early. So that is the problem. So reading gives an important one. So to that, there is also, to this problem, one problem is also related, and that problem is depression. Everybody today, even the school going boys, is also in depression because the parents expect him too much. Teachers are in depression, parents are in depression, everybody today is in depression. So what happens to because my personal experience, and get out of the depression. Because reading, when we read a book, a novel, or any sort of book, we become the part of that world, the world that is pictured in that particular book. We just live this world, the present world, and we go into the world of literature, in the world of that book. So in that way, it helps us to reduce depression, reduce stress. And you see that many people, that the veteran teachers particularly, they are very old ones, still they read. They are very old. I mean, they are very big physically, still they read. Because they are able to read only because they read. Reading expands the lifespan. That's what the scientists say. If you read, so you expand your lifespan. So that's the important one. So arranging such kinds of events, arranging such kinds of programs, webinars, so I think that's very, very important, because it gives people, it makes people aware of the importance of reading. this event is not for the sake of events. So you will be very happy to listen to Rajendra Kumar sir, then Ravindra Kumar Mahapatra sir. They are stalwarts in their field, and they have a lot of experience. One lives in Pune and other in Agartala. So these people, they are devoted people, and they will definitely focus on all these kind of things. As a reader, not as a minister, but as a reader, because I'm very happy, and I welcome all of you once again. And you, best of luck to you all who have participated in this webinar. So all of you enjoy the reading and have a nice day. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your enlightened introductory speech. So friends, now this is an hour to listen to the renowned resource persons of this national webinar. First of all, Professor Dr. Rajendra Kumbhar sir. Professor Dr. Rajendra Kumbhar sir is the professor and head Department of Library and Information Science, Savitribai Phule, Pune University, Pune, Maharashtra State. Now I will give a brief introduction of Professor Dr. Rajendra Kumbhar sir. Professor Dr. Rajendra Kumbhar is presently working as a professor and head in Savitribai Phule, Pune University, formerly University of Pune, Pune. He is the head Department of Library and Information Science there. He has been teaching to various courses in library science for more than 30 years. To his credit, he has over 70 articles published in national and international journals and conference proceedings. He has published more than 20 books. To his credit, there are more than 20 books. These books are published by national and international publishers. Reading, research method, and classification are the topics of his interest. He has specifically written on these topics. As a part of co-curricular activities, he has attended more than 100 conferences, seminars, workshops, webinars, and presented papers, chaired sessions, and delivered keynote addresses of various national and international conferences and seminars. He has delivered a number of lectures on diverse topics at library and information sciences, refresher courses at various universities in India and abroad. He has been member of various academic bodies such as Board of Study, Academic Council, Research and Review Committees, etc. He has guided 7 doctoral research scholars successfully. With this brief introduction of Professor Dr. Rajendra Kumbhar sir, may I request you, sir, to have your enlightened speech as a resource person of this national webinar. Professor Dr. Rajendra Kumbhar.
Thank you, Dr. Ganjewar, for your nice introduction. Good morning to all the library professionals who have joined us. The 2 colleges which have arranged this particular event, the Art Science Commerce College, Dharur, and the Art Science Commerce College, Ambat. Honorable principals of both the colleges and the conveners, particularly Dr. Sagar and Dr. Ghumre, who have made this particular event possible by all their efforts. I really compliment them for organizing an event on reading. Friends, I know there are many people who have joined this particular webinar belongs to the library profession. There are few of them maybe from the teaching profession. But since many of them are from library profession, I feel it is my responsibility to compliment these 2 librarians which have made it a point to organize event on reading. Friends, as a library professional, I must share with you that inculcation of reading habit, sustenance of that reading habit, promoting and helping for the sustenance of the reading habit is all the responsibility of the library professionals. We should be proudly accepting and fulfilling this responsibility to promote reading, to market reading, to actually keep this movement of inculcation of reading habit alive forever. And that is the reason I feel both the colleges and the librarians particularly deserve a congratulations for organizing an event related with reading. And look at the theme also. The theme that they have asked us to speak about, my co-presenter, Professor Mahapatra ji from Tripura, and myself will be talking about the theme changing scenario of reading culture in digital era. They have really identified it, that the reading culture has changed. It's not just changing, I tell you, though we say that change is a constant thing, it happens continuously. But as far as reading is concerned, the change is already there by virtue of the digital environment. The digital era has enforced a change as far as reading is concerned. If we look into the past with reference to reading, what do we notice? Yes. As far as the reading is concerned, we can broadly, as librarians, divide it into two categories: the academic reading and the leisure reading, reading of novels, storybooks, biographies, and the other categories. Now, as far as the academic reading is concerned, in the past, what was there? Basically, there were two types of reading materials available in the past. When I mean past, I mean pre-digital era. Books were there, maybe textbooks, maybe reference books, and journals were there. That was the characteristics of pre-digital era as far as the reading is concerned. Only two types of reading materials were concerned. And actually, the content that is there now available, I can very well call it as a loose content available through the internet and the different platforms, what we usually call as social media. This loose content was not available in the pre-digital era. And whatever reading material was available in the form of books and journals, it was by and large available through libraries. Because considering the economics of that particular time, books were very costly entities. Now, that is not the case. That is why many students are buying their sets of textbooks. They're not turning toward the library. That was not the case. So has reading changed? When we are talking about the changing scenario, yes, it has indeed changed. Earlier, libraries were the sole monopolies, you can say. They were the only places where the reading material was available. And that is why actually the reading material, they used to come to the library because the reading material was available in the library. And as a result of that, the space value of libraries were very high. Libraries were recognized for both these important facilities: provision of books and provision of the space made available for calm, quiet reading. It was a studious place. So once you are in the library means you will be certainly able to grasp the subject. So there was a space value also for the library in the pre-digital era. Not just that, the library services were highly appreciated. The staff was also appreciated because in the absence of the active support from both the library and the staff, the users were not able to make use of the treasure house that was just now referred to by the principal Gaikwadji, that yes, libraries are treasure house. But then they were made serviceable only with the help of the library staff. So there was a high appreciation for the librarians compared with the today's comparison in the past. And when it comes to the production of information, particularly that loose information, books and journals, they were also less in quantity compared with today. But even there were very less producers of information and there were more consumers of information. Friends, The digital era has changed all this. Now it's the reverse one. Now there are many producers of information. Rather, I will say everybody is producer of information. He may not consume any information, he may not read it, but he is producing it through all, thanks to the technology, we must say, or courtesy technology. Now, in the whole scenario, what I just now described, there was one more a favorable thing, a happy scenario. What was that? There was a deep reading, particularly when it comes to the reading practices. Yes, the users, whether they were students, research scholars, or the teachers, or maybe the other scholars in the society, they used to actually practice what is known as deep reading, which has now been actually declining very fast. So they used to read maybe 10 pages, 20 pages, 30 pages, 50 pages at a stretch. And they used to get engrossed in the content. Yes, getting lost in the books. That was the scenario as far as the reading in the pre-digital era is concerned. It was focused reading. It was sequential reading, going serially. And though, of course, much of it was a text-centered reading. Very true. But yes, see, we are all basically academicians on this platform, at least today. And as an academicians, we have to ensure that the text content is made available appropriately to the right reader, the right content that will enhance the value of library in the academic setup. That was there actually. Of course, leisure reading was then also. That is what is called reading of novels particularly. Was it there? Yes, it was there. Only thing, that reading, what was there for the means of personality development, it is still been there. Now, it is a matter of research, whether the quantity of that research, that reading, that is leisure reading, entertainment reading, whether that has decreased or not. We don't have very concrete data on this. So my appeal to the young library professionals who are on this platform, conduct a lot of research related with reading. That will make you an informative person as far as reading feature of the people are concerned. Reading of your clients is concerned, and you will be able to actually design and provide more appropriate services to these people. So as far as that leisure reading, entertainment reading, as usual, I will say, was inadequate as far as libraries are concerned. So they are like mothers, you know, they are never happy as far as the use of reading material and the reading is concerned, because they always feel that users should read more and more. With that, the pre-digital era, this was actually the scenario. So what are the features of digital era? Because we have to see actually what is the scenario of the reading in the digital era. When we try to understand actually the characteristics of digital era with reference to, of course, reading, what do we notice? One important point that I have noticed is that the information is made available in the digital era very easily, maybe at a cheaper cost. And not just at a cheaper cost, even it is made available free of cost. Look at the open access initiative. All my library professionals who have joined here, they are aware of that, OAI. And what about the open educational resources, OER? That is actually in a large quantity. In one of the recent conferences which was on OER, I listened to actually maybe dozens of people, and they were presenting their paper that how many OERs are available, and they were in thousands. Now that is the feature of the digital era as far as reading is concerned. And again, the loose content is increasing. What I mean by loose content, the content which is bound in books and periodicals is intact. You refer to that with a single title. Whereas news content through all the social medias, whether it is WhatsApp, Facebook, websites, portals, and whatnot, actually. A huge, what you can say, mechanisms have been made available through which content is being circulated, constantly being rather bombarded, you can say. That's how we are in true age of information overload. There is a flood, or what they call deluge of information. That is the characteristic of digital era information scenario. And what else? Information is made available anytime, anywhere. Remember, that has a direct context with libraries. Libraries are stationary institutions. They are at 1+. Readers have to visit to the library. Though, of course, now the librarians modernized it. And with their all IT skills, they are making available content remotely. That is there. But in spite of that, when we look at the digital era environment, we do notice that anywhere, any place, there is availability of information. Remember, this feature directly creates a stern competition because ultimately users used to come to get some content on a particular topic. And if the same content is made available anywhere, anytime, so easily, maybe free of cost, I think that is indeed creating a competitive agency to the libraries. We have to be aware of it. We have to be very conscious about it. And we have to take note of it so as to sustain in this world of competition to libraries. The social media content, as I mentioned, is growing extraordinarily. I don't think that we will be able to control it. It is always going to be on the growing side of it. Ranganathan made that 5th law. Library is a growing organism, aptly applicable to the social media, actually. It is a growing organism. Now, with this, actually, because of the changes, because of the features of the digital era, there are changes in the reading culture. That was indeed been touched by the one of the principals in the morning, that the digital developments have affected every walk of our life. They have influenced and they have enforced changes in our life. And friends, let me tell you, and you are aware of that, there is no alternative to the use of digital media. Whatever I will be talking, I'm not saying that you don't use the digital media. In spite of that, of course, we as librarians, we as professionals, we as experts of reading material and as experts of reading itself as a discipline, as an activity, we should be able to guide to the students and the users which media is more suitable in which situations. But yes, as these organizations have correctly recognized that the digital era has changed the reading culture. If that is the case, what are those changes? The very first change, according to me, the digital era has brought in the reading habits is the more of a browsing and very less of a reading. You will all agree with me, I'm so sure. Analyze your own situation as a librarian, as a teacher, and then you look what the students must be doing. I remember myself. See, what do? We go on browsing, whether these are the handsets that you are in your hand, so handy, always with you, as good as an extended part of your hand, you can say, the mobile device. And then of course, the other technology, the laptop, the desktops, reading devices like the Kindle and all that. All in all, what are we doing? We are browsing. You know, friends, there are students actually who browse in a day for 6 hours or more than that. The average browsing time of almost all people is 1.5 hours to 2 hours per day. Point is that, are we reading? No, we are not reading actually. We are simply skimming through, watching the words, watching I'm saying, because reading involves an activity of comprehension, a component of comprehension that is not there. So when it comes to the printed books and journals, there is more of a browsing. And what is the nature of reading? As we were just talking about, it is skimming. It is shallow reading, that is another term actually. There's a wonderful book written by a sociologist, American sociology professor, called The Shallows, the title of the book. He wrote it almost 10 years back, or maybe about 8 years back, about 2015. The Shallows. What did he say? That after the arrival of the internet, since the information is made available through the web, my own reading, that is what the professor says, Nicholas Carr, my own reading has become shallow. Now I am unable to read concentratedly 3, 4, 5, 10, 20 pages at a time. I used to do that before the digital era. So friends, when it comes to actually the impact of digital era on reading, that is what I said, it is all shallow. Shallow reading does not help you to become experts of subjects through reading. No way. Because you are simply reading the, what you can say, detached words, headlines, keywords. One keyword is related from politics, another from psychology, another from history, geography, chemistry, botany. Oh, look at it. What subject you are going to master? No way. You know, there is a term actually, the modern students use it. Interesting acronym, you can say. That is TLDR. What is this TLDR? They say too long, did not read. Look at it. So they are not reading. Why? Look at the reason they give. Too long. That means about 1 page content, 2 page, 5 page, 10 page content is too long for them. So what is short for them? So it begins with SMS, short messaging service. And it is further getting miniaturized through all those emojis, not even saying thanks. Those come with 2 hands raised. Namaskar. That's all. Not even uttered, not even spelt. Not those NAMASKR or THANQ. Look at that. Too long, did not read. Friends, we as a librarians and as a teaching fraternity, we have to think about this scenario very seriously. What will happen if reading gets shrinked day by day? If it declines, decreases day by day, what will happen to libraries? Because I always hypothesize that no reading, no libraries. Libraries exist to facilitate reading. Libraries exist to sustain reading. Our role is reader development. And remember, unless he is developed to read, what for he will come to the libraries? So we have to take note of this particular changed scenario. I won't say even changing. That is shallow reading. Plus reading is done with multitask. See the youngsters. Now this is another matter of research, another topic for research, whether that is equally applicable to the teaching community also. All of us, not just teaching, I don't mean teachers, librarians also. Is it that when we read, we simultaneously do multiple things? When it comes to the youngsters, 100%. He's listening to some music. There are earbuds, those hearing devices. And apart from that, he is watching something, he is reading something, he is talking to somebody. Look at that. Simultaneously, he is doing so many things. Is reading actually just a casual activity when it comes to academic reading? Let me tell you, friends, that. But It is my own study and research that even the leisure reading has to become quiet and serious. Then only actually, it has to be contemplative. It has to be thinking. You have to give time. Whatever you read, you have to link it to your real life environment, your own life. That is what is the entertainment type of reading, novel reading. But when it comes to academic reading, in order to understand the content, you cannot do it with multitask. You cannot do it with such a distraction. You know, friends, one of the features of the digital era is that it is a word of constant distraction. I don't know whether you have noticed or not. I have noticed it. What is that? When you read any content with lot of hyperlinks, you don't read, you jump. You jump from one hyperlink to another. I always call it jumping reading. Reading with jumps. See, that itself indicates your mobility. You are not actually halting for a minute. You know, on one screen, it has been researched, and the research finding indicate that on one screen, average human being is for 10 seconds. 10 seconds, friend. 1 0. What do you think? Can anybody grasp any content with such a blink of eyes? Fraction of second, 10 seconds? I'm so sure you cannot get to any content, and you're talking about academic reading. I was talking about that distraction. See, there is a constant distraction when it comes to digital reading. Remember, I'm not against digital reading. Digital reading is must. We have to use those resources, particularly to access the current journals. Yes, you have to do it, and you must do it. And library is facilitating that. This is for the teachers. And librarians should do that. But at the same time, you cannot simply neglect this fact. The digital reading, by and large, exceptions could be there, is a full of distraction. You know, otherwise also, and this has been more noticed because of the pandemic scenario, COVID-19. What is that? That more and more people are suffering through attention deficit disorders, or what they call ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorders. Are we getting hyper every second? Yes, it was mentioned by our principal Gaikwad that reading helps you to have a peace of mind. Sir, you are very right. It has been researched that 6 minutes of reading reduces 68% of stress. But then the point is that when you are reading 6 minutes, getting lost, you are all away. You know, reading transforms you. I will say it is transfer also. It transports you from one place to another place. From all that chaos, it takes you to a peaceful place. Now, the point is that when it comes to the changed scenario of digital reading, the digital reading is full of actually distraction. It is a restless reading. We have to notice that our attention span, whether it is our own or whether it is of our dear students for whom the library exists, if their attention span is getting decreased because of the digital era, as professors of reading, I always believe that librarians are professors of reading. They are experts of the reading material. And as such, we have to care for the reading community that their attention span is getting decreased. We have to do something. So when I am talking about the change scenario of reading in the digital era or the reading culture in the digital era, this is my one more observation. One more observation is this, friend, that in the digital reading, there is more of a searching and less of a reading. We keep on searching. You know, particularly teachers must have noticed, and I'm so sure like librarians have already noticed. Whenever we have to deliver some talk, whenever you have to write some article, have you ever actually bothered to calculate, to compute how many hours you have searched on the internet to get the relevant information? My own observation is that you have to search maybe 3 days per week, per day, 3 hours per day for at least a 1 week. So that makes approximately 20 hours. 20 hours we are searching, but I think my own calculations are very limited one, very conservative one. You must have noticed. That is what happened. Go on searching because hyperlink is dragging you. So another feature of the changed reading culture is that we search. Mostly we don't read. I was saying that we search more and we read less. You know, there are two psychological concepts that comes into picture here. One is they call, why do we keep on searching and we don't read? Because we work under the phenomena called FOMO, fear of missing out. FOMO, fear of missing out. Why do we keep on searching? Because we feel that I might have missed something very important. I searched for one page, particular keyword I typed, and the Google has given, or the database screen has given me one page of retrieval. I browse through those links that they are there presented. And then I feel that, okay, no, this is not convenient. This is not suitable for me. I go for another one, another search. Why? Fear of missing out. Or there is another concept called FOBO, fear of better option. Because you feel that, okay, I got this, great. But there may be a better article, a better book, a better website, a better web content. So go on, continue reading. Look at it. That was not happening. That doesn't happen when it comes to the reading with the help of libraries and librarians. They will be giving you a concrete book, a concrete article. You read these 10 articles, you will be more than happy. Your purpose will be served. Look at the guarantee the library professionals give that the internet doesn't give. The internet always keep you, in an uneasy state of mind. Anxiety is there. That is what is being called as search anxiety. It's 100% there. So that is why you keep on searching, And then of course there is excessive consumption of junk information. That is another feature of changed reading culture. So a lot of junk information is there. We all people have been actually listening, reading, talking about what is that obesity. Obesity is being caused to the human body. Your weight increases excessively because of your junk food, intake of junk food. Is that whole phenomena applicable? Can there be an analogy, a similarity with junk information? You are going on consuming unwanted information, an accident there, and then the fire there, and some elections there. All of them, are they really helping you to grow academically, grow as a researcher, grow as a businessman? Is that happening? Or even to develop your personality? It's not happening. And that excessive consumption of information is actually a changed reading culture. That is why we have to be reading dietitians actually. The librarian's role is there. We should be able to advise. We should be able to prescribe. We should be able to say that you read this one book sufficient for this purpose. You read these 3 articles sufficient for this purpose. Because the digital era is bombarding with information which is not relevant to the purpose of the reader. That is another feature. Has reading decreased? Reading time has decreased. Certainly. Why? Because look at your overall, if you mean reading a book, an article, and browsing through the website, where more time is spent? You will certainly agree with me, more time is spent on the social media. By virtue of that, actually, the reading has decreased. And as a result of that, since reading has decreased, the vocabulary of our readers is decreasing. so sure. As a result of that, it may happen. Your writing quality will decrease. It will degrade. Your oratory. See, word power, vocabulary is one of the essential feature of a developed personality. A person who has vocabulary, has a command over language, he will be able to actually speak in a very influential manner. But for that, you have to have vocabulary, word power. And where from word comes to our brain. Friends, words can be actually injected to your brain only by two means. One is reading, another is listening. Amongst them, reading is a more concrete method to acquire the word power. But with the digital era, with the scheming, with running with the content, nowhere we can have the vocabulary which is beneficial for a number of academic ventures. As a result of all this generation is getting deprived of the benefits of reading. I'm so happy that Principal Gaikwad did mention that the benefits of reading. And I'm so sure you as librarians, you as a marketers of reading, you are aware of these benefits, advantages, values of reading, importance of reading. But what is happening is that since the reading is decreasing, the deep reading is decreasing. Friends, I tell you, there are reading researchers in the world. They are there, few of them in India also. Two of them I know who have written recently, maybe in the pandemic period, books on reading. One is Marian Wolf, who wrote a book called Reader Come Home. Another is Naomi Baron, B-R-O-N. You refer to these books through internet. Both these people claim to be a neurologist and reading researcher. They say they have confirmed this further, that reading is decreasing. And a third book also I can share on this platform, written in Hindi by Krishna Kumar, who was a earlier director of NCERT. He wrote a book in Hindi called Padhna Jara Sochna. A common thread among all three books is that our reading is becoming shallow, what was recognized before these people by Nicholas Carr. Now the point is that by virtue of this scheming, the shallow reading, they are getting deprived. So I am still talking about the changed nature of reading culture in the digital era. So what is the changed nature? It is becoming shallow. And what is the impact of that? The effect of that? The effect is that they are not getting the benefits of reading. Friends, by virtue of reading, not only actually your personality is developed overall, your language personality is developed first of all. Apart from vocabulary, you can become very good writer. Because by vocabulary, you can become orator, no doubt about it. And that is why you will always notice that, whether there are orators in general in the society or right from the parliament, all those people are very good readers. Another benefit of reading makes you writers. You won't find actually throughout the world, in any time of the history, a person never read a book and become a writer. No way. Actually, it is the gift of the reading itself. It is the benefit of the reading, the person becomes writer, whether he is a writer of an academic books, on monographs, or he is writing novels, dramas, poems, essays, whatever it may be, biographies, so on and so forth. Your academic performance improves. This benefit we have to necessarily bring it to the notice of the reader, particularly student community. Their academic, this has been proved actually, the correlation between reading and academic performance. And they say that yes, there is a positive correlation. Reading increases, academic performance increases. It's very much that. Analytical thinking gets developed. Creativity gets developed. Critical thinking enhances. Look at those benefits. Empathy, compassion, these values of a human being as a humanity. We start understanding other people as human beings, which is the highest value as human being. This indicates that you are truly a developed personality. Friends, none of these benefits will be ever able to avail by the non-readers. And that is the matter of worry. The digital reading is taking away our customers. Yes, reading are our customers. They are our clients. They are our users. And the digital world, because it is more attractive. The younger generation particularly, right from the younger age, school age, and of course the college going students, university students, we have to actually definitely think about it. The reading is getting diverted, distracted, and all this leads to inequalities also. See, digital reading actually, once upon a time, I remember there was a book, The Word is Flat. And in the word is flat, the author talked that because of the arrival of internet and other digital technology, now there are going to be more equalities. We all know that in the whole of the world is full of actually differences, inequalities. Equitability is not there. We have to create that equality. All human beings should have the same status. That's not there. Now, when digital era came, people said that it is equalizer now. But what is the case? Is it the case? No, it's not there, friends. As a librarians, we must know that how many people have access to the digital content. How many people have the devices to access? So internet connectivity, we have seen those pictures. People going to the mountains and valleys and here and there to whether there is a network connectivity. And devices, and training, and the willpower, the psychology, the attitude, all of this rather creating actually a further, what you can say, inequality. We have to be aware of that. Digital reading has, of course, as I mentioned, it will be actually injustice on my part if I did not mention the benefits of digital reading. Some of them I did mention, anywhere, anytime. Yes, the wall-less libraries anywhere, it is being made possible. So we have to actually appreciate that. And we have to thereby promote something what is called as the biliterate reading, hybrid reading. We need not to actually, envy. We need not to hate the digital world. We have to appreciate it. So it has to be a balanced combination. Research content, yes, you better go for a digital content. But if you want to actually understand something from the root, better you go for the printed word. Printed has really speaking, I don't believe there is any option. When such is a scenario of reading in the digital environment, what teachers can do and what librarians can do. Yes, here I have a little plan that both these communities actually actively involved in teaching learning process. They can play a very vital role in inculcating reading habit, in sustaining reading habit, in developing a reading culture, what Mr. Panikkar wanted actually. This is the reason why we are celebrating the reading day. So what we can do? Teachers particularly can play an important role here by increasing their own reading. Sometimes it may, some of you may take it the other way around. This is equally a message I want to communicate to the library fraternity also. We have to individually analyze this. Think about it. Is my own reading sufficient? Is it adequate? And if you feel that it is inadequate, we have to increase our reading. We have to increase our deep reading. We have to be reading role models in front of the students. So teachers can do that, and they must read variety of contents, not just their own subject books. But there are many books actually apart from subjects, particularly the books of self-help category, biographies, autobiographies, novels. Friends, novels have a great value in the overall academic and personal life. So this has to be done there. Teachers particularly must teach with the help of all the while references in the classroom. Not a single classroom should be there where a teacher has not given reference of a new book or article or thesis, depending upon the layers of teaching. Master degree, probably you may refer even to the thesis. So this reading material-based teaching, library-based teaching, book-based teaching will certainly create more readers, because see, ultimately, it is the teachers who can divert the flow of readers from other places towards the library. And of course, the assignments. The more and more assignments should be based on reading material. There is no point in giving assignments where ready-made answers are available in a particular document, and as a result of that, what happens? Maybe if it is available on the net itself, advantages of X, Y, Z, it has been ready-made available. But we have to give them assignment where they will read maybe 3-4 articles, at least 1 or 2 books, and then they write. Ultimately, reading will increase. We have to create readers. Similarly, what librarians can do. Librarians, most importantly, friends, I always believe, as professors of reading, they must deliver every year at least 12 lectures on importance of reading in the classroom. And it is the authority of the colleges and academic institutions. They must make available time in the timetable itself for these lectures. Otherwise, it is impossible. Otherwise, even if a librarian is interested in going to the classroom and talking about why they should read. Yes, librarians through their lectures have to answer 2 questions. Why to read? Some of the benefit our principal did mention, I did mention, and there are many more actually. This is not the lecture on importance of reading. So you must answer this question, why? You must convince, you have to market reading. To convince them, yes, reading is so important, they will run back to you toward the library. So delivering lectures, maybe 1 per month, that will change the whole scenario. You must go to the classroom. Particularly, you have to focus on what I always been called as, you have to talk about reading outcome. Already the University Grants Commission is talking about learning outcomes. If you learn this topic, what benefits you get? Can we say on the analogy of this, if you read, what benefits you get? Who else is an appropriate agency to communicate the importance of reading? I don't see any other than the librarians. They are the most appropriate people to market reading, convince the reading community that reading is actually an important life skill. I always say it is a life skill of life skills. There are 10 life skills actually being recommended by the UNESCO. To live a happy, successful life, you have to have those 10 life skills. And friends, it is my own observation that reading itself helps you to acquire all those 10 life skills. So I always say that reading is a skill of all life skills. Our librarians must go to the classroom and talk about this, that reading is very, very valuable. They have to increase their own reading. This I did mention that. And then earn mastery of the reading material. Ultimately, you have to answer this second question. First, why to read? And second, what to read? Friends, remember, almost all students, faculties, and researchers do have a question. I read this. What should I read next? Which is the most appropriate book for this particular topic? Librarians are masters of reading material. They are experts of reading material. And if they are not, you must acquire that mastery. Try to know more and more books, articles, journals, pieces, websites of a particular topic. And then you earn that mastery of reading material and answer that question. What should I read next? So next time the reader need not to come to the library, he should come to the librarian or the library staff. As the patient goes to the doctors, not to the hospitals. He visits, he consults the doctor. Librarians may be consulted. Conditionally, you acquire the reading material. So how can you create that reading culture? You earn mastery. Based on that, recommend reading and promote particularly reading, not necessarily only of the academic content, but you promote reading of the non-fictional content also. So everything, remember, fiction reading is actually being said is the most attractive mechanism to inculcate reading habit. Fictions create that earnest desire to read. That interest in reading is created through fiction. So once you actually make them habitual, rather I will say once you make them addicted to reading through fiction, then you give them the other type of reading material. That is possible. So don't hesitate to recommend fiction. Don't hesitate to recommend self-help category books. Don't hesitate to recommend biographies and autobiographies. Remember, they make personalities. That has to be there. And finally, give lectures in the classrooms. About what? Books. That is book talks. Maybe every month, at least one book talk. About 3 to 4 books. Will that create reading culture? 101%, because maybe they are interested in reading, but they have not come across a suitable book for reading, an attractive book for reading. It is you as experts of reading material, you as a librarian, rather I will say as a professor of books and reading, you can create that scenario. So friends, all in all, what I believe is that the teachers and librarians together, they can avail the benefits of the digital era and create reading. What they are reading is immaterial, whether they are reading digital content or they are reading the printed books. That makes no difference. What we have to ensure as active partners in teaching learning process, the teachers and librarians particularly, because there are more of a librarians I could see. What we have to ensure that reading is surviving. Survival of reading, sustenance of reading is much more essential for the development of the human being. For the purpose of lifelong learning, reading has to survive. And it is you who can ensure that the survival of the reading. Friends, on the occasion of this reading day, let us salute Dr. Panikkar and let us congratulate these 2 colleges and their principals and the librarians who made this opportunity for us to have some deliberations on reading. And let us take an oath that yes, we will work wholeheartedly for this reading movement. For that, I wish you all the best and take your leave by expressing my thanks to the college and the organizers for giving me an opportunity to have this for sharing some of my thoughts. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, sir.
So feedback links.
Wait.
Hello.
Dr. Gajewar, sir. Please.
Yes, sir. Am I audible, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your enlightened speech. Now it is the hour that we should move to the next resource person of our webinar. I am very glad to give the introduction of Professor Rabindra Kumar Mohapatra. Professor Dr. Rabindra Kumar Mohapatra is the professor and head Department of Library and Information Science, Tripura University, a central university, Agartala city, Tripura state. Really, it is a great hour for me that we are going to listen to such a great personality who has contributed a lot to digital environment and library and information science. Professor Dr. Rabindra Kumar Mohapatra is the professor and head Department of Library and Information Science, Tripura University, Agartala, Tripura state. Dr. Rabindra Kumar Mohapatra has served formerly as a principal, College of Library and Information Science, SMIT, Behrampur, Odisha. He has also been a visiting fellow resource person for various FDPs in UGC orientation and refresher programs and PMMMNMTT. He has 28 years professional experience of 8 years to his credit. He has more than 22 years research experience to his credit. His research areas are information seeking behavior, metric studies, and academic library. His specialization is on research methodology, knowledge orientation, library management, and reference services. He has also been the secretary, NDLI Club Tripura, GIIN local coordinator. Under his able guidance, 33 scholars have been awarded PhD successfully. To his credit are 5 books as publications. He also has published so many articles in journals, conferences. He also has published more than 200 chapters in various books in India and abroad. He has also been a well-versed reviewer for many leading LIS international and national journals. He has also been connected with academic exchange to many premier institutions, universities in India and abroad. Such a huge personality is in between us today. So may I take this opportunity to welcome Professor Dr. Rabindra Kumar Mohapatra for his leading plenary speech. Professor Dr. Rabindra Kumar Mohapatra.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm audible. Go on.
Yes, sir. Please, sir.
Good afternoon, one and all. Esteemed Principal, Professor Dr. Deepak M. Bharti, Principal, Arts Science Commerce College, Kile Dharur. Esteemed Principal, Professor Dr. S.B. Gaikwad, Principal, Arts Science College, Ambad. Respected Professor Dr. Rajendra Kumbar, Professor, Department of Library and Information Science, University of Pune, and resource person and speaker of this occasion. Respected Professor Dr. Shiv Shankar Gomre, convener of August webinar, and my good friend. Respected Dr. D.N. Ganjewar, IQSC coordinator, Kile Dharur College. Mr. Gopal S. Sadar. Respected all the teachers of respective colleges, invited distinguished guests, delegates, and my dear research scholars, participants, and students. I am privileged to be here with this August webinar as a speaker of this occasion, and happy to see that both the colleges have taken a collaborative effort for organizing this webinar on a thought-provoking topic, and which is also need of the hour, that is changing scenario of reading culture in digital era. I, from my core of heart, congratulate the team of both the colleges for their benevolent effort. As I could able to know that this audience of this webinar is a mixed audience. It consists of the teachers of other disciplines or multidisciplinary disciplines, as well as the participants from library information science. It has been seen that there are many issues and challenges for the institution and libraries from last 2 decades. That's a declining of students or declining of the attendance of the students in the schools, colleges, universities, as well as the libraries. We may call it, it may be an issue, it may be a challenge to the institution, to the school and the libraries, how to attract the students. As you know that library is a resource center and library is a knowledge center and institution is as a learning center. And the topic that has been chosen by this August webinar today, yes, it is a thought-provoking topic, and this topic is always in a debate. Whether we will say for of the topic or against of the topic, it always confuses the speaker, because we cannot leave one another. Both are very, both of them have a very significant role to play. As you see, maybe it may be called as a, when you come to the point of library, also there is a declining of attendance in the library, be it a public library, be it a special library, and be it a public academic library. Or you can say this type of topic is relevant to the academic issue and challenges. Sometimes it's a psychological issue and challenges, and some of it's a philosophical issue and challenges. So I will not speak about either in the against of the topic or that's for of the topic. It will be a mixed. My idea will be a mixed one, because both has a relevance and both have playing a significant role in this digital environment. As you know that there are many changes to this academic world and the reading culture. So before going to my putting my ideas, let me share my slide clip. Is it visible?
Yes,
Hello?
sir.
Okay. So my sincere gratitude to all the authors, whether visible or invisible, that whose ideas I have taken into this topic today to put my ideas in this August webinar as an academic pursuit and academic endeavor. I will give a reflection on these following points. As you know that there are very learned persons are here, teachers are there, the students are there, research scholars are there, and the librarians are opposed, the librarians are also there. So simple, I will just have a reflection on the topic because they are well versed in this particular topic. When you come to the point of as a reading habit, you can say, reading culture, you will say. So it is everybody knows about that. Coming to reading, Fisher and others have told that reading is a procedure of recalling, thinking, and linking abstract according to the function of written words. As you know that reading encourages or it improves our thinking, and we also produce an abstract of what, whenever after reading, when you produce an abstract of our knowledge, that is very important of reading. When you come to the point of reading as a culture, or we call the reading as a habit, because cultural reading culture is related to reading habits particularly. It is an environment where reading is valued, promoted, and actively encouraged. Reading is a culture, and reading cultivates. Reading cultivates. What it cultivates? When you cultivate the your reading, it improves it. You gain the knowledge, and you gain what's called the. We know about many things, and you know that book does not hurt. When you read a book, generally we always gain the knowledge. a learned practice, come to the next point, a learned practice of seeking knowledge and information or entertainment through the written word. So that is called a knowledge culture. It also refers to a habitual and regular reading of books and information material for leisure, not necessarily for passing the examination, or to read the books for a leisure time and during the leisure time. It's a, you may call it a reading is a continuous reading, or it may be a reading for the leisure time to pass the time. It is also a learned practice to seek knowledge, information, entertainment through the written word. Reading culture is one of the symbols showing the civilized process of the nation. So the nation progress, when you read it, the nation generally progress. Our country with a high reading culture will likely to master of the science, master of the technology. With the high reading culture, people will solve the difficult problems facing the nation and can innovate and create all type of activities, and they can contribute to the nation. And to analyze and understanding the nation and the problem seriously, so a good reading is very important. And good reading cultures open the key to economic prosperity because of the knowledge is the power. When you know, because knowledge, reading is related to knowledge. When you gain knowledge, it generally contributes to the progress of the nation, and knowledge is always the power. The person who has the knowledge, we call the Western country are the very powerful. So they're powerful in the sense they are having the sources of the knowledge. They have the resources of the knowledge. So when we call the knowledge is the power, because they possess knowledge, we call the knowledge produced in the Western country. Okay, because knowledge produced in the they are, that's why they are the power. A reading helps the people learn to survive, promote their full ability, live and work with the dignity, and participate fully in the process of building knowledgeable citizen, improves the quality of life, and make informed decision, develop critical thinking. That has been told by Rotana in 2011. And the absence of a reading culture not only leads to the social inequality. This was given by Street in 2011. The reading culture expands learners' vocabulary and also helps to acquire right lifelong skill to participate in today's changing environments. So learning and reading is a lifelong process. It never ends. Okay, there is no discrimination of age, distinction of caste, creed, and religion. Reading is for everyone. And coming to put more points in this to reflect this knowledge culture. Reading is a culture of environment where reading is championed, valued, and respected. It is being respected. Then refers to the habitual and regular reading of books and information material for a leisure, not only necessary for the passing of the exam. The love to read books for a leisure and during the leisure time. Reading relies at the heart of the curriculum, and it is most important to child's perspective, social and academic success, as well as their general well-being. So we call this a child because reading should be cultured at the stages of the early stages of a human being. That is we call the when the it is a in the stage of the children. Okay, stage of a child, and it starts from the home, and later in the start from the school. And now we are talking about the reading culture are also in the colleges and the higher education center. Because when we cultivate the knowledge in the early life, that is in early days, and it has been nourished by the either you say the parents, then the teacher, and that will give a reflection in the higher stages, that is the colleges and the higher education. So creating a reading culture should not be responsible of an individual. It is not only responsible for a mind. It's the responsible for the all. It is the responsibility of the parents. It is we know that it is the individual responsibility. But how the responsibility will come? So everyone has its own responsibility. The parents has their own responsibility, and the Keith and Kings have their own responsibility. The seniors have, they have their own responsibility. The teacher have their own responsibility, and of course the librarian has the more responsibility to develop the reading habits and reading culture. And a report has been commissioned by National Literacy Center that research indicates that if reading becomes a lifelong habit, the people must see themselves as a participant in a community. That reading is a significant and enjoyable activity. Parents and the home environment is essential for fostering the law. And it is already told, it's been told that when you develop a reading, generally it has a significant role to play. It contributes to the growth of the nation, the economy of the nation. And now coming to the changing scenario. So we call it the scenario has been changed. Okay. As per the title has been selected by the team of this pattern webinar, that the changing scenario. Okay. So the changing scenario is the digital environment. So what is the digital environment? Is an integrating, we call it the integrated communication environment, where digital devices and communicates and manage the content and activities within it. And the concept is based on the digital electronic systems, which are integrated and implemented for a global community. And generally this, when you talk about digital environment, we need to talk about one where the digital technology thoughtfully developed by the government to frame up that a best improved outcome. It's a improved outcome. What outcome? Now the well-being of the citizen, the strength of the economy, the effectiveness of the institution, the assistive technologies, the data-empowered urban environment, the technology involved, and the building blocks that are the government and the policy maker aim to provide their citizens. And the technology is just to get there. And the most important is one way to provide the best digital services and to share practices across these high-performing digital government. Now the government is insisting of the digital India. And we know that there is a buzzword, digital library. Now nobody talks about the library, everyone is talking about the library. And we also talk about not the library, we talk about a knowledge center, knowledge resource center. There are gone are the days when you talk about the library. Now we are talking about the knowledge resource center, and we will talk about the digital library. And one way is to provide the best digital service to share the practice across these high performance digital government. It is the important component of the that generally includes the websites, the clouds, the search engine, and the social media, of course, at the outlet. And the impact of information communication technology, on the other hand, the reading activities user bases the synthesis on the result of their studies. And the reading culture and the digital environment. The reading culture and digital environment is a combination of reading habits, digital skill and information literacy, mobile applications, audio, video, and other web-based resources. So the reading, when you include the reading habit with the digital environments, it inculcates both the things, not only the reading of the printed books. It consists of the reading of books, okay, either in it is in either form, not only in the print form, it is in the either form. And now coming to the concept of the reading culture, how the reading culture has been developed. When you talk about the reading culture, it is approached under the two angles. Reading culture is a culture class of a community sustained with the period, and reading culture is a culture of behavior of each person in the society. And it has two things to play. One is approaching reading culture as a culture-based class of a community that is been told by Johns, argued by the Johns. Reading is a social phenomena rather than a single phenomena. It develops constantly over time with roots deeply rooted in the tradition of each nation. And coming to the second point, there is approaching reading culture as a form of behavior of each person in the society. This is most important, and it has relevance, very much relevance to the reading culture. In the process of each person's ability makes a difference in their reading level. The reading culture on reading level, particularly reading culture in the reading level, is manifested in the human behavior in the reading process and originates from the cultural level and the culture front of each person. It comes from the family. It comes from the parents. Parents, they generally taught. So the behavior, the reading culture, the reading habits is a behavior. It comes from the family. It comes from a society, particularly. The society consists of either a family or a school or institution. So it develops. Okay. So according to Taskova, okay, at the individual level, reading culture reflects the cognitive capacity of the cognitive capacity and the mental tendencies that helps recognize the retinal printed symbols that creates and the mental emotions, as already has been reflected by Professor Kumbar, that how the symbols also reflects the mental activities and the mental process. Okay. And according to Ilsam also, reading culture is a culture where reading is valued and appreciated in the society. Coming to another thought given by Trans, Kim Min-ching and Bouvet, that reading culture is the synthesis of the ability to orient a document, comprehend the document activity, and behave with the document of each individual. So we call it the document because before the innovation of the digital technology, when we were dependent to a document. Now reading is no more concentrated to a document. It is now converted to non-documents. And the changing concept of the digital era. So we call there is a shift from a book to a digital era. Okay. So now the government is talking about the digital library, digital India. So we cannot also ignore the digital interventions to the digital technology interventions to the institutional teaching and library activities and services. So digital services are changing the way we read and purchase books, and it might be hard to break the habit of turning the pages of a real book. There is particularly, we call it it does not only remain to the reading of a book. So when you take the help of a digital technology, so drastically there is a change. Okay, as Professor Kumar Sir was talking about, we go through the changing only the content, and there is absence of deep learning. That's true. Okay, but turning of the page, it's a habit of the turning of the pages. And you see the problem before the Gutenberg, before the printing press was invented. What was the situation of the reading habits? There were no documents. There were no printed documents. So we call it inkunabala. Okay, the knowledge was presented in the form of inkunabala. We call it the early writing materials. So it may be a palm leaf, it may be papyrus, it may be parchment, it may be vellum, it may be engraved in the stone and that's called metals. So it may be written in the form of a cloth or skins. So that is think about that. What would be the culture of reading in those days before the printing press was developed? And we know that there is excess of written sources in the historical records, particularly. Okay, and during those, reading was we think that reading was a very luxury things. Okay, then took place a revolution when the printing press was developed by Sir John Hanson Gutenberg in the 15th century or early of the 16th century, which revolutionized the production of the books. And before that also, invention of the paper. In 10th century AD, the paper was invented, but the paper was used by the Chinese in the 13th century AD, 13th century AD. And Gutenberg's revolutionary invention in the 15th century revolutionized the way of producing the books. And today, in the 21st century, we again see the revolution of the digital technology. Means now the information is published in the space, and time. Okay, it is published in the web, and it is in a digitized form. Either you call it a Born digital and a digitization. Okay, so it is a form of publishing knowledge in a technological platform. And one of the key things that has been changed in the direct consequence of the advancement of the technology in our way of obtaining information. The age of searching through the books in the library shelves for book to find a piece of information is long gone. Okay. Now people does not come to the library to see the books in the library. When in the good olden days, during our study and research work, we generally depend on the library. Now, what is the consequences now happening in the today's environment? People are not coming to the library because library is going to the people. Already library has gone to the people. The people in their palm top, there is a library. We see the library in their palm top. From a clay tableau to we are thinking about the palm top. We are moving from a palm leaf to a that is called a palm top, and we call it as a digital library. In a small gadget, we see the library, and people are not going to the shelf to the browse the books to see the books. The technology has even changed the way of we use the library, and it's in turn it saves the time of the reader. Yes, definitely it saves the time of the reader. For searching the books, for asking the librarian, going to the shelf, browsing from shelf to shelf, from one corner to another corner, pillar to post, it doesn't require nowadays. Okay, it saves the time of the reader. And libraries that refuse to adopt to the technology face the risk of that is called we call the risk of the being obsolete. Okay, so we cannot ignore the change. Okay, when there is a change, we have to adapt the change, we have to adopt the change, we have to adapt the change. Adopt, and adapt the changes. Otherwise, it will create an information gap. So when there is a change, we have to keep pace with the change, and we have to inherit the change so that we can walk through the pace of the time and the pace of the pace. Otherwise, we will be lagging behind in the society. And the virtual and audible material which can help them follow the lecture, enhancing their learning experience. And you see that there may be attendance, there may be fall of attendance in the class. It does not matter. The lecture given by the respective teachers in the class, it's been recorded. The student, later stage, the student can hear to the lecture of the teachers. And you see that in the activities, in the research activities like simulation, the activities like research simulation, it has been observed by the robotics. You need not, a researcher need not to watch the simulation constantly and being with the presence with the laboratory. Now they are observing through the robotics. So at their home, okay, they need not come to the lab. Okay. So such things have been changed. Coming to again giving a reflection on the importance of the reading culture. As I told you, I will talk about the against of the this topic and far of the topic. It is really mixed ideas that I have to reflect on this. So the importance of reading culture. The importance of the reading culture is that to build a strong reading culture puts reading in the forefront of each of its improvement. And people cannot be active or informed citizen unless they can read. So really, it is a reality is that it is our duty people should be informed. It may be duty of the teacher, it may be a duty of the librarian, or it may be the each and every individual of the society. Okay, people cannot be active or informed citizen unless they can read. So reading is very important. Either you read a printed book or you read a digital book. Okay, and reading is a prerequisite for almost all culture and society activities. Okay, Department of Culture will already mentioned about it. And the key unlocking is the rest of the academic curriculum. So reading is a academic curriculum particularly. Not only is reading required for success of future employment and ability, read will help the children to future relationship when running a household, when navigating all aspects of their personal lives. Okay, and reading influence is a strong indicator for achieving the further education or higher education and the future employment. It starts from the family, it starts from the school, and later it helps in the higher education and further employment. As already pointed out by Professor Kumbhar, so constant reading is also helps for individuals' career and individuals' employment. Only competent readers will able to access to the wonder of the curriculum and they improve their life chances. You see the importance of the reading habit. Okay, those readers, the competitive readers, only have the access to the wonder of the curriculum, so they can access to the knowledge, they can access to the world of knowledge, and it improves their life. It has been seen. Now coming to the shift paradigm. Okay. So now we came from a shift paradigm from a clay tablet to a that is called media, particularly digital media. So now today you are not talking about this shifting of or change culture, or changing scenario. You think about when library was not exist, institution was not existing. So people used to remember the things through Shruti and Smriti. Okay, by listening and by remembering. Okay, there were no documents. There were no documented documents. There were no, even in the Inkulava, there were no early writing materials. Okay, people were remembering the things with Shruti and Smriti. Okay, then they came up shifting was can be Inkunamla. Okay, early writing materials. Okay, people able to record their knowledge in the early writing materials. Then the invention of paper and the invention of this printing press by Gutenberg. Then the shifting from the publishing. You see now the authors, the producer of knowledge, the writer are now more writing in a printed form. They have shifted their ideas to publish in a web resources. We call the space and time. Knowledge published in the space and time. So there may be a lot of reasons on that. The cost of books, the printing cost of the books, the printing cost of publishing in an article in a journal. It's become very hard and difficult. And to publishing an article in a journal, it takes a time, long time. Doing way back to our studies to publish an article in a journal, it used to take 1 to 2 years to publish your ideas in a journal, scholarly article, particularly in a scholarly article or in a scholarly paper, particularly scholarly journal. Particularly. So now it has become very easy. Within 1 month, you can publish your idea in a journal, in a peer-reviewed journal or indexed journal. You see, there is a shift. Okay. And you see now the author, the publisher, the producer of knowledge now publishing their ideas on the web and space and time. That's in the web. So when you think about I will read a books, then how you will know about the recent progress that has been published in the form of a digital resources or web resources or internet resources. So that is called a shift. Okay. Then publish and perish. Okay. Egoin Garfield has rightly pointed out the publish or perish. This culture shift. So you have to publish. If you do not publish, nobody will recognize, nobody will admire to you. So publish and perish culture has been given a shift. So now people are shifting to publish in either form, not only in the printed form, either form. And next is a paperless society. So F.W. Lancaster has projected in the way back in 1978 that there will be a paperless society. So no more paper will be used for sharing your knowledge, sharing your information. But later he took that the paper cannot, the digital technology cannot replace the book. Later he's taken his comments, taken back his comments in the later stage in 1998, I think. Okay, there will be paper, but mostly the digital technology will take the lead role in publishing knowledge, particularly. So there will be paperless society. And we call the, now nobody thinks about the form of the things. The content is not important. The content is important. The container not is important. Container when the knowledge we possess. So knowledge can be possessed in the print form, knowledge can be possessed in a non-document form, knowledge can be possessed in a digital form. Nobody bothers about that. But we bother that how to acquire knowledge, whether it is a print form, whether it is a non-print form, or whether it is a electronic devices or digital media. Okay, so content is important. Form of container is not important. Then coming to another point, that is called, you see the storytelling now devices, the emerging technologies. So now the emerging technologies has come to the purview of our teaching, learning, and research activities. So what are the emerging technologies? We talk about these things are that I want to put just a brief idea about that. These ideas generally we discuss in a point of view engineering technologies particularly. You say about cloud computing, big data, augmented technology, Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, robotics, drone, okay, then virtual reality, augmented reality, and also the storytelling. So these things we talk about in the engineering side, but now no more it is the rest with the engineering. These technologies, emerging technologies, have been come into use in every respect of the domains of the knowledge. Every respect, not only in library science. Yes, in the library science too, it has given the impact. Okay, and the library too are also has adopted. I will salute to the professional. Okay, that when there is a change, they have adopted to the change and they have provided the service to their client. So you talk about the big data, you talk about the artificial intelligence, you talk about the cloud computing, you talk about the robotics, you talk about the drone, and you see the reality. Now, when you are reading a printed book, we call it as, you see, there is a linear and non-linear reading, linear reading and non-linear reading. There are two types of readings are there. Okay, linear reading, you say page by page. As Professor Kumar Sir was telling, page by page. So when you are reading the textbook page by page, that doesn't have now have the attitude. So we are shifting from one article to another article. That's a non-linear reading has developed, culture has been developed. But think about that the artificial reading. When you were reading a book, you were imagining. So you are imagining in your own way. But these technology has given to your already has given to your imagination. They have already they are already given input to your imagination. And when you are reading a story, so you are reading a story and you are watching a movie in a that is called 3D headphone. Putting a 3D headphone, you will realize the 360 degree of its 360 degree of its activities. Okay. And feeling like as if you are seeing, you are moving to a, suppose you are reading a story of the Jurassic Park, okay, and feeling the attitude of 3D, putting a 3D, a headphone in your headphone into your idea, you will get the ideas. Okay, see the feeling. So when a child will read a story of a particularly, you say a story of the Harry Potter, whatever you say. So he will feel the reality of the things, we call the virtual reality or augmented technology, augmented realities. So yes, this technology has given to the real world of thinking particularly. So beside that, there are other also shifting the paradigm, like reading activities are being now affected by technologies, e-books are being popularly throughout the world. Various e-book reading services have been emerged. Rising technologies has been affected many other spheres of our lives. Then rise of smartphones, mobile devices, then changing hit the reading activities in general, and introducing the e-book and audiobooks have changed our habits. Then today's world is significantly more, or even everything that ever before in the internet books and audio books and printed materials. And nowadays, a large amount of people are working hour is spent on the social media and working on a computer on the screen time. And one more important is that reading for pleasure has improved. A survey has already gave that this digital reading, particularly digital reading, has been improved the mathematical ability as well as literacy. And some studies has been taken already by Fisher and Marchant and Parikh and Seher and Graf in back in 2015, 2020, 2018 and 2020. That reading culture, particularly the reading culture, has a positive impact on the social media particularly. And reading habit of the student have been reported a positive sign in the reading culture, particularly reading habits. And now coming to the impact of ICT on the reading habits. Okay. Yes, we are talking about the impact of ICT, information communication technology. To talk about the computer technology, talk about the computer communication technology, or talk about the satellite technology, the internet technology, mobile technology, whatever technology, say Kindle, because the Kindle, okay, laptop, whatever technology has been developed. So it has impact to the reading habits. The internet has increased the influence in the information world, transforming way back to the information of the story, search and retrieval. Internet has made the big difference in the reading culture. Now reading is no longer limited to the printed technology. Okay, and drastically it has been changed. With increasing amount of digital information, younger readers spend more time on reading in electronic documents. And I talked about the linear and non-linear reading. Okay, so both linear and non-linear is also, or either you cannot say that the linear reading has been declined, non-linear has been not declined, because many surveys also have been witnessed that still there is a interest of reading the printed books. So one recent survey was conducted in 2021 that it says that equality, that people are still there is a dependency on the 41% of dependency on the printed document reading, and there is a 43% dependence on the electronic reading, relating the reading through the electronic devices. Internet offers the reader the unique opportunity to access rich information sources and exploiting information effectively on the digital environment. Impact of digital skills. So for this purpose, impact of digital skill is very required, and knowledge of ability of determining the information need is very important, and skill to rationalize use of digital tool, mean and software to exploit the knowledge and dissemination of knowledge is very important. And reading document in a digital form, efficient navigation is essential to the vast amount of information in internet. Internet and information technology has given people the opportunity to become the information provider. Okay, so we were restricted to one library. Now no more we are restricted to the library. See the Project Gutenberg. When you visit the Project Gutenberg, it opens to the thousands of collection of the books. Okay, not only limited to lakhs. Okay, there's more than lakhs. Okay, then reading culture and developing reading culture of the digital environment. Reading culture in the digital development of reading culture must be processed to the self-learning for the readers to be reading habits, being equipped with the knowledge and the skills to form of the digital reading skill in the information literacy. We call it the information. We have to develop information literacy. Information literacy is not only restricted to the printed books. information literacy is related to how you are acquainted with the computer, how you are acquainted with the computer technology or the digital technologies, and how you are acquainted with the information published in the form of the digital devices particularly. So how we have you have acquired the knowledge to get access into the electronic resources, and promoting inspiring the reading culture. So some of the points is already reflected by Professor Kumbhar here. So to put into more ideas into how you can inspire and how can promote the that's called reading culture and reading habits into the minds of the people and minds of, particularly in the minds of the children, particularly because that is the stages where the children can learn, not in the later stage. As you know that reading is a lifelong process, but learning actually it develops in the early stage. As I told you, it is a psychology, you may say psychological aspect, it is a physiological aspect. Learning is developed generally in the early stage, particularly. So I will give my one ideas to my professional colleagues, that particularly the librarians, that they can promote, they can inspire the reading culture by putting these following points and remembering these following points whenever they are providing service to their clientele, particularly. So here in the classroom. So this is very important. Here in the classroom means dropping everything and read. That's correct. And the culture has been developed in the US, dear culture. So dear in the classroom, that you should give a time, particular time, either you give half an hour or 1 hour a time. So leaving all your work. So you have to concentrate with reading a particular book. Either it's a printed book or either it is a digital book. I don't say that, but you have to spare your some time for the reading particularly. Then role model. So the teacher should be a role model, either the librarian should be a role model or a parent should be a role model to inspire the student. Whenever you see your parent are reading, either you are reading a newspaper, you are reading a book. So generally it transforms to the child particularly. The child will also let us say so it become a role model. So the teacher should tell there in the class, as I told you, as Professor Kumar is rightly pointed out, that the teacher has a role, the librarian has the role to become a role model. The teacher should tell about the benefits of the reading. Or the teacher, even if they're in their common room, when a teacher is reading, the student will also see that my teacher is reading. Okay, so that reflects. Then reading books in a different subject, not only one subject. So you should read the books or anything in the different domains, particularly. And reading of the variety of literature, variety of forms. Not only, as I told you, books. Okay, it may be books, it may be non-books, it may be articles, it may be a textbook, it may be academic, it may be a pleasure book, it may be a story book, in either form. Okay, as I told you now, content is important, content is not important. Okay, then classroom libraries. So the college and institutions should develop the libraries at every stage. Not only there should be a central library. Say that there is a big institution, there is a central library and there are departmental libraries. Same like there should be a classroom library. When I will tell my one experience, when I visited to a coffee shop, before after this corona, I saw there is a wooden tree that is called wooden tree. They have made a wooden tree and they have kept many valuable books. So during your coffee time, somebody will go and check out a particular book. If it like, he will sit there sometime and he will read the books. Okay, and you see the culture of the Mizoram, particularly in the Mizoram. In the road corner in the tea shop, you will find the books. Okay, so there is no restriction that books will be only you will find the books and read books in a library. So librarian can take the efforts to create in every corner of the institution, not only into a particular library. So library in the classroom, okay, and book across the institution. Wherever students are sitting, you can keep a corner. Suppose in a canteen, you can you can open a corner in the particular where the students are mostly chit-chatting. At the time you can that corner also you can put it. When you see there where there is a crowd, there will a regular there is a crowd in the institution, and you can open a corner of the books particularly. Then engage the authors particularly. You have to engage the author. You can invite the author, have a talk on the book talk, and learn person particularly from the public, from your local society. You can invite the authors who are the good authors. They are writing the books, and also you can have a talk on that particularly. And competitions and award and reward. So the library should promote who is the good reader, who is user regularly coming to the library, who is spending more time in the library. You should reward them. You should admire their visit to the library, so that by seeing other people will come, other reader will come. Not only I'm not telling that is only the higher institution level, but in the school level, in the college level also we can create it. Okay. As I told you, you can create a competition in the library particularly, and exhibit the books in different occasions. So we call it the now people has time. They are making fun in every moment. Okay, they have money. Okay, same like if you have resources. So every occasion, every occasion like birthday of eminent person, birthday of state persons, any occasion. Suppose today is a book day, reading day. As book we call the reading day. So you can exhibit books in the front of the library. So that you can attract the readers, attract the students to read the not only to see the books. So whenever person will see, Ranganathan said it is the duty of the library from what's called a potential user to a potential user, habitual user. So make a habitual user. So it is not a one day a student will come to the library and read books. So you attract the student. So during his several visits, one day that you definitely will read a book. Then books recommended by the students. So ask a student who is regularly reading a books, he will recommend books to their juniors. Particularly ask them to write some books on their notice board. Particularly the notice board, they will write whatever the books that has been very important, given benefit to the student. They will recommend to their juniors particularly. So books recommendation by the students. Then live and breathe with literature. It is the duty. Okay, either every individual has a duty. Live and breathe with literature. Okay, don't spend your time otherwise. Then spark curiosity within the school environment. Okay, always input some imaginary input something into the student's mind, so that he will produce something new about it. Then keep on talking. So always have a discussion, either in the family, either in the college or school. Have a discussion always. There is this one. So as I told you now why the students are leaving the institution after the class is over, because we do not have the resources to welcome our students, to keep hold our students in the institution. We do not have that, because when a student will go to the after he's completing his classwork, immediately he wants to go to the house or home. Why? Because he wants to relax. So same time of home atmosphere you have to create in our institution and create in our library. Okay, this should be, that will welcome the students to the library. Okay, then make your library as a space magical. Your library should be a space musical. So space musical in the sense here that you have to, when a student will come to the, or a user will come to the library, you should feel that yes, it is a library. Okay, that there should be all provision. The provision like there should be a coffee shop. There should be, if you want to take a rest, there should be, if you want to take a lab. You see in the foreign now the libraries is developed like a home atmosphere. Okay, aesthetic and home atmosphere. In the home, whenever you are taking a lab. Same like you have to take a lab. If a student has not brought a laptop, so the library will provide a laptop. Every point of the corner there should be charging, there should be a laptop. Okay, if you want to see a movie, so there must be a provision of seeing a movie. Okay, So that culture should be developed. Okay, that culture. It does not only that the student will come to the library only read the books. So he always come to the books. He always come to the book not only for the gaining the knowledge through the books, but through other medias also. Okay. Then host guest speakers and organize trips also. So take the student round to the different big libraries, giving them examples, invite the guest speakers to give a talk on the books, and particularly in the particular Nobel laureates also you can invite. Then empower the children with their next steps. You have to empower the students also. Then host different events to attract the people. Then utilize your students to different activities related to reading culture. Then work with the local organization. You can keep a collaborative efforts. Like today, 2 colleges have taken the efforts to jointly host this webinar by taking a thought-provoking topic of reading culture. Same like you can collaborate with the local industries, local business houses, how to promote the reading culture and reading habits particularly. Then celebrate Literacy Day also. That is also one point, and get parents involved. So that is most important. As I told you, reading culture develops from the family, particularly from the house, particularly, and unite staff. Of course, it is the duty of the library to unite the staff. As a librarian, it is not one-man effort. It should be a joint effort. It should be united efforts. Then only you can promote and inspire the reading culture. And here I have just given a particular definition given by Ranganathan. A library is a public institution or established charge to care the collection of books, the duty of making them accessible to those who require the use of them, and converting every person into a neighborhood, into a habitual library goer and reader of books. So Ranganathan during in 1930s that he has propounded this 5 laws of library science. You might be knowing about that, and Ranganathan has given a good definition. So we should make a habitual goer to the library and the reader of the books. So Ranganathan has given the reflector of documents also. Later the 5 laws are modified to documents also. Now I will tell you about something, the transition of the library. Okay. So what is you see the library profession also. You see about the library profession. So a library, God has given me an instrument, and the honor done to me should act as an incentive to the young generation to devote their lives wholeheartedly to library science and services. So Ranganathan says that librarian has been given an opportunity to serve to the mankind particularly, and where you can nourish your students. You can nourish your student. You can inspire your student, okay, by making a habitual library goer. Whether he will read a book or not, that is indifference, but habitual goer. When you, from a habitual user to a potential user, particularly, you will make a potential user. You see, the transformation of the transition of the 5 laws of library science also reflected to the digital library concept. You see, the Al-Jazeera now is in 2004 applied 5 laws of library science to the web technologies. Web resources are for use. Every user, his or her web resource. Every web resource, it is a user. Save the time of the user, and web is a library organism. You see, and even if the Simpson 2008 also, when there is a richness of the media, he is also reflected on the media as a source for the 5 laws of library science, and reflecting on that media are for use. Every pattern is information. Then every medium of its user, save the time of the pattern, and library is a growing organism. And coming to point out again, Kumar sir has given a definition of the 5 related to the 5 laws of library science, relevant to the 5 laws of library science. Digital objects are for use, and every user, his or her digital object. Every digital object, its user, save the time of the user, and digital library is a growing organism. Okay. Then coming to coming to the 5 laws of library science applicable to the digital era as a philosophy of library science. Okay, that is redefined as a information focuses on the content, not the content. As I told you now in the digital era, the information is focused to the content, not the content, subject. Okay, the discipline, not the forms of knowledge, whether it is published in a book or an article or in a database or it is a digital resource particularly. And user engagement is the most important. As I told, reading habits. You have to engage your reader. Okay, let you engage the reader. Then quantitative analysis of information and common learning. That's either your online learning or offline learning. And you see that the new education policy. Okay, 2020 new education policy. The policy says that whenever you are designing your syllabus, you have to design the syllabus. 60% of the syllabus should be your own syllabus, and 40% syllabus to be acquired through online. That's called open educational resources. SR was also reflecting on it. OER. Okay. So students have to be given chance to learn from the online platform. Okay, digital OER. That's called online e-resources. Okay, electronic resources. And I am not going into depth on it. Digital library, concept of the digital library, and you see the digital repository, abundance of the benefits of the digital library, abundance of knowledge, abundance of resources you will get through the digital, that's called ebooks. There are ebooks platforms are there, okay, where you can get the access into the books, particularly books. There is no limit to the limitation to the books. It's not confined to one library. It's a group of libraries. Same like these are the some open sources are there and some gated sources are there. And these are digital resources are there also there. Okay, gateways and portals are there. Okay, so by my through my conclusion, I want to say that as Kumar sir also reflected on that. Okay, printing, reading a printed book has a different taste rather than reading a book on a tablet particularly. So Mark Young Herring's essay, 10 reasons for why the internet is no substitute for the library particularly. Library are safer space, libraries are respected history, librarians digitize, influence primary sources, librarians are leaders in increasing online access to scholarly information, librarians are the publisher, library host space, makers space, librarian can help you to sort the real news from the fake. Okay, because sometimes your Google also Google is guru, but Google is not the real guru. Okay, sometimes also it misleads. Okay, so librarian guides to the exact what you need, and libraries do not track your reading or searching history to sell you something. Okay, sell you something. Okay, which while reading, you see, while reading a digital document, your advertisement comes. So librarian do not do that, and the library do not do such things for the reader. Then librarian do not censor particularly. So you are open to the knowledge war. They do not censor the things. Okay. So when you come to the library, you can get the reap benefit of the library. So with this little knowledge, my ideas, I think I have presented in this webinar will come into use of my fellow friends and the persons who are presenting in this web platform. Thank you very much. Hello.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Dr. Ganjewar, sir.
Thank you.
Hello. Dr. Ganjewar, sir. Am I audible, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Hello. आवाज येतोय का सर?
Oh, sir. Yes.
बोला.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Professor Mahapatra, sir. Now, both the sessions are open for question and answers. I request the delegates or participants of this national webinar, if there are any queries, please ask the resource persons. Are there any queries? Professor Sagar, sir, shall I proceed?
Hello, sir.
Yes, sir. Please continue, sir.
My name is Pramod Kirkar. I am a librarian from Goa.
Okay.
Just now, sir, spoken about there should be good infrastructure in the library and sitting facilities and environment should be good to attract the students towards library. Okay. So my question is infrastructure and all that looks after either government or management. In that matter, what librarian can do, sir?
So it's a question to me or Kumar sir?
Yes, sir. It's
okay.
Yeah.
So it's a difficult question to answer. You see, I told you now, it is everyone's responsibility. In my point, I found it is not individual responsibility. It is everyone's responsibility. As you saw, to promote the reading culture, okay, reading habits, it should be the duty of the parents, it's the duty of the teacher, it's the duty of the librarian, and the duty of a kith and kin also. You see, when you come to when you want to promote the reading habits, so you have to develop a good library. There should be a good infrastructure. As I told you, that's a home-like infrastructure. To retain the students in the institution, particularly in the library, it is the duty of we call it the stakeholder of the libraries. The main stakeholder of the students, but the other stakeholder administration, and particularly the librarian has to propose. Okay. So you have also equal responsibility. You have to propose what type of infrastructure you need to promote the reading culture. Okay. So, and you see, and you can have a discussion with your administration and how they can fulfill your proposals. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Are there any questions from other participants? May I request other participants, if there are any questions, please, you can proceed. Varsha Verma, ma'am, Vilas Kirtan, sir. Are there any questions?
Okay, sir, there is no question.
Okay, thank you. No problem. So, friends, now we are on the verge of the completion of this national webinar. With the kind permission of the convener and both the principals, may I request the librarian of our college, Professor G.D. Sagar, sir, to bestow vote of thanks. Professor G.D. Sagar, sir.
Thank you, sir. May I audible, sir?
Yes, sir. Please continue.
Okay. Good afternoon, friends, honorable dignitaries,
Namaskar, Dr. Sir.
eminent resource person, respected principal, sir, and dear participants. On Marathwada Shikshan Prasarak Mandal, Ahmedabad, Arts, Commerce and Science College, Kille Dharu, and the Matsudari Shikshan Sanstha, Arts, Science and College, Ambed. I feel immense pleasure to take this opportunity to propose vote of thanks on one-day national webinar on the scenario of reading culture in digital environment. At the outset, I propose vote of thanks to our eminent speaker, Professor Dr. Rajendra Kumbar, Professor and Head, Department of Library and Information Science, Savitribai Phule, Pune University, Pune, who spare the time from his busy schedule and enlighten us with the extremely relevant address. I also take this opportunity to thank Professor Dr. Ravindra Kumar Mahapatra, Professor and Head, Department of Library and Information Science, Tripura University, a central university, Agartala City, Tripura, for delivering informative and fruitful session with us. Also, I would like to express my vote of thanks to Principal Professor Dr. S.V. Kaikwad, sir, Principal Arts, Science and Commerce College, Ambad, and Professor Dr. Deepak Bharti sir, in charge principal, Arts, Commerce and Science College, Kille Daru, for kind support and encouragement for organizing this national event. My deep sense of appreciation and thanks to all the participants who choose to be live with us and attend the webinar with great enthusiasm and made it a successful event. My sincere gratitude also goes to the organizing committee and convener, Professor Dr. Shiv Shankar Gumbre sir, for taking emerging topics that really matter in today's time. My sincere thanks to National Digital Library of India, NDLI, and its team for webcast this event in global level through NDLI channel. Last but surely not the least, I thank to Dr. Ananta Gade sir for all the technical support and for helping us to webcast the webinar through YouTube channel. Once again, I thank you all for being with us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
My
Sir, thank you very much.
special thanks to my friend Professor Gumbre and all the organizing team.
Sir,
Such a
thank
nice
you.
team.
Thank you.
Thank
With
you. Thank you, sir.
your precious time with us.
Thank you.
Participants are requested kindly fill up the feedback form for e-certificate. Feedback form is available on WhatsApp group and also.
Sir, should I leave? Should I leave? Thank
Yes,
you.
sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you once again.
Thank you, sir.
Kumar sir, thank you. Namaskar.
Kumar sir, thank you. Kumar sir, good up. Hello. I think
Thank you,
Kumar
Kumar
sir.
sir.
Kumar sir.
Dr. Kumar sir.
I think Kumar
Thank you, sir. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sir, when we'll receive the certificate? Time, sir.
Tomorrow from your valid email ID. Kindly fill up the feedback form. Feedback form is available in the chat box and also available in WhatsApp group. Thank you. Thank you.